Hi, this is Lou from YA Strength. I've done a video on HIIT versus steady state training and its impact on cardiovascular health. You can find that link in the bio below if you want to take a look at that. But in this video, I'm going to discuss HIIT versus steady state training and its impact on fat loss. So there is a difference between fat loss, right, and working out for cardio health. So there are two different approaches to accomplishing those two different goals. And there are various types of exercise that you could do when it comes to you as an individual when you're working out in your home or when you go to the gym to decide what you want to work out and what you want to do. Depending on that decision, you will either impact more of fat loss or you will either impact more of your cardiovascular health. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing more so of HIIT, steady state, and fat loss. I'm doing that because cardiovascular health is only one side or one aspect of your overall fitness health and your overall strength. Fat loss is another portion that we like to focus on when it comes to getting healthy and becoming more fit. So in this video, I'm going to discuss and inform you about which is more effective for fat loss, steady state or HIIT. So some of you might already know this, but for some of you that don't, the main difference or the key difference between HIIT and steady state training, or the key differences between the two, is simply this: time and intensity. In HIIT cardio, you use a maximum percentage of your heart rate in a shorter amount of time. So by example, let's say 30 seconds on, 10-second rest, 30 seconds on, 10-second rest. That's an example of a HIIT cardio. In steady state training, you use less of your maximum heart rate. So by example, 55% as opposed to 80% or 90% that you do with HIIT training. And the duration is a lot long and oftentimes steady. So it's 45 minutes straight of the bicycle, for example. So basically when you're doing HIIT, you shouldn't really be able to hold a conversation because you're out of breath. You're exhausted, right? After that, those 30 seconds on and 10 seconds off, 30 seconds on and 10 seconds off, doing that for consecutive intervals or reps, you will definitely be exhausted and you shouldn't be able to talk. But with steady state, although you will be more exhausted than you would if you were doing anything, you should be able to maintain a conversation. So think of you walking on the treadmill at a fast pace, or think of you doing a light jog, right, where you're breathing heavier than normal, but you can still turn to the left and speak to the person next to you and talk about anything, a show you recently watched or a movie that you enjoy. So which of those two are more effective for fat loss? So long story short, they both can help you achieve fat loss if done consistently. But HIIT can help you accomplish fat loss in a shorter period of time. And that in itself may cause people to believe that HIIT is more effective for fat loss because less time equals more time to do other stuff. Because less time in the gym working out or at home doing a workout means more time to take care of the kids, more time to go to work, more time to do whatever you want to focus on. But again, this video is focused on discussing which one is more effective for fat loss, not which one is more effective for time. So there has been a lot of research studies on this particular topic in the past decade or so, or the past 10 years. And they all generally come to the same conclusion when it comes to fat loss and the impacts of HIIT and steady state training. So there was a 12-week research study out of the University of New Mexico that consisted of 43 women ages between 18 and 22. They were split into groups, 3 groups. One group did HIIT, the other group did steady state, and the other group, the third group, did nothing. So 3 groups: group 1, HIIT; group 2, steady state; group 3, nothing at all. So you can pretty much consider that third group to be a control group of some sort. They focus on measuring body mass, body fat percentage, and abdominal fat across the 3 groups. The results show that the HIIT group accomplished the same amount of fat loss, overall fat loss and body mass, as the other group. But the key difference is the HIIT group was able to accomplish it in a smaller amount of time. Specifically in the study, the average duration for the HIIT group was 30 minutes and the average duration for the steady state group was 68 minutes. A link to this study will be pasted below in the description box. There was another study published on PubMed Central, and it focused on HIIT versus steady state as well, but this time they were focused on learning about the impacts on visceral fat, which is the fat around your stomach area. More specifically, the study compared HIIT versus prolonged continuous exercise training and abdominal visceral fat reduction in women. In this research group or research study, the women were split into 3 groups, 43 women, groups that did HIIT, groups that did steady state, and the other group that did nothing at all. They also found that fat was reduced in both groups successfully. Of course, with HIIT being able to accomplish that fat reduction in a shorter amount of time. But the study also suggested that those who did HIIT were able to reduce a higher amount of visceral fat. So those who did the HIIT, the group that did the HIIT training, were able to reduce a higher amount of visceral fat, which is fat around the abdomen. For us, we want that to be reduced to see more of our abs. That was reduced more efficiently in the group that did HIIT, or the women that did HIIT, as opposed to the women that did the steady state cardio or steady state training. So again, both achieved fat loss. Of course, we know now that HIIT, smaller amount of time, steady state, a more prolonged time. But the benefit now we can see that's emerging is that with HIIT training, you can see a bigger reduction in body fat around the abdominal area. So basically, HIIT is a better option for those that are looking to accomplish fat loss in a shorter amount of time frame, or they need shorter sessions to work out, or they're strapped for time in general. A shorter 25 to 30 minute rigorous HIIT session to help you accomplish the same amount of fat loss as someone else who's doing steady state bicycle, walking, or running for 60 minutes straight. HIIT is also the better option when you are considering losing fat in the stomach area or the abdominal area, because now we know that HIIT was able to accomplish more fat loss reduction, specifically visceral fat. And we know that visceral fat is the type of fat that is stored in the abdominal cavity area. But keep in mind that HIIT is easier said than done, so it's not really for the faint of heart or those that have certain health concerns. With that said, if you are suffering from arthritis, have joint pain, or cannot move around as much as you'd like, HIIT probably isn't the best option for you. You should do steady state training. Remember, you're still going to be able to achieve fat loss with steady state training. So once you become more mobile and the joint pain slowly goes away, then you can try to implement maybe medium intensity exercises and slowly work your way up to high intensity exercises. But doing steady state is perfectly fine when it comes to fat loss. In fact, the best fat loss you can do when it comes down to it comes in the kitchen, coupled with doing exercise. So even if you're doing steady state, if you have a better workout program when it comes to what you do in the kitchen, coupled with your workout, then you should see better, if not more fat loss than individuals that do HIIT training and don't have as much of a good diet when compared to what you're currently eating. So if you can, try both. Either way, do what's best for you depending on what you and your body can handle. This is Lou from HiiT Strength. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. HiiT Strength equals you are strength.